Hi all, today we are going to discuss about the RL circuit with the freewheeling diode and then followed by RLC series circuit which is connected in association with a diode, how it is going to respond. So first I am starting with the RL circuit with one freewheeling diode. What is freewheeling diode? Why it is called as freewheeling diode? I am going to explain with the help of the derivation so that the concept of the freewheeling diode or the need for the freewheeling diode will be completely clear. So let us take for example, initially all the condition or the circuit is relaxed. Let us assume the switch is closed at the instant t is equal to 0. So when the switch is closed at the instant t is equal to 0, you can see this plus is connected to VD. So this diode will be forward biased. So now coming to the freewheeling diode, because this side is connected to plus, this side is connected to minus, so this freewheeling diode is reverse biased. That means it will act as a open circuit. So only option the voltage will be applied will be, entire voltage will be applied across this load. That means the voltage will be applied across this RL load. Let us assume this is equal to R and this is equal to L. So when the switch is closed at t is equal to 0, so we can write the value of Vs will be equal to R into I plus L into di by dt. Agree with me? So this I can convert to the Laplace transform. So Vs by S is equal to R into I of S plus Ls into I of S minus I of 0. So taking 0 initial conditions. 0 initial conditions means the current at t is equal to 0. So this is equal to 0. So that I am substituting here. So what value will come? So this will become equal to Vs by S will be equal to R plus Ls into I of S. R plus Ls into I of S, right? So from this I can write my value of I of S will be equal to Vs divided by, so S into R plus Ls, right? You agree with me? So this what I can do, this will be Vs divided by R I am taking as the common. So this will become R into S into 1 plus L by R into S. Agree with me? So this is the value. So this I can separate into two components. This will be equal to Vs by R into 1 by S minus 1 by S plus R by L. S plus R by L. So this I can convert to the inverse transform to get the actual value. So from this I can calculate my value of I of t is equal to Vs by R into 1 minus e to the power of minus R by L into t. Up to here the derivation we have already done before, because for the case of RL circuit in our previous class, right? So if you plot the value of the curve between the current how it is coming, so this curve will come like this. So this is my value of I. So initially at time t is equal to 0, so this e to the power of 0 will be equal to 1. So it start from 0 and gradually it will go on rising and it will increase to a steady state value. So under steady state value, so what will be the value? Under steady state value, the second component will be equal to 0. So this will become equal to Vs divided by R. So this will be equal to Vs divided by R. So let us represent this as a steady state current, so which I am representing by Is. Is is the steady state current, or we can represent this as the current under the steady state value. So this will remain steady state like this. So now under steady state conditions, let us assume I am suddenly opening my switch S. So what is going to happen? So the circuit I have pasted here. So now what happens? Under steady state conditions, the switch is opened. The switch is opened. Let us assume switch is opened at some time t1 under steady state conditions. So under steady state conditions, the current is already passing equal to the steady state current. You agree with me? So this current is equal to steady state current. When this current is passing through your inductor, when the switch is opened, obviously the current should reduce to 0. So what will be the property of your inductor? The property of your inductor will be, it will not allow the sudden change in the value of the current, because current should suddenly become equal to 0. So because of this, in order to produce the current in the same direction, it will produce a voltage to aid the current direction, because the current is passing like this. Previously it is opposing the passage of current. So now it will induce some voltage in this way, that will be equal to L into di by dt, whatever the value you take. So because this plus is connected here, so this plus, when you are going here, this switch is open. So now this plus is connected to this terminal, that means anode of the freewheeling diode. This minus is connected to cathode of the freewheeling diode. Now what will happen to the freewheeling diode? This freewheeling diode will get forward biased. This freewheeling diode will get forward biased. So what it can do? It can pass the current in this way. It can pass the current in this way. This is the basic phenomena what will happen. I am repeating once again. Under steady state conditions, we can see that current is a steady state value which is equal to Vs divided by R. So now when the switch is suddenly opened, this current will suddenly collapse, because when the switch is opened, the current cannot circulate through your supply. But the property of the inductor is it will not allow the sudden change in the current, because voltage across the inductor is L into di by dt. Now we are trying to make this current from Vs by R to 0. So because of this, it will produce a voltage, and the voltage will be produced in such a way that it will try to continue the current in the same direction. That means now the inductor will try to act as a source so that the current will continue in the same direction. So initially some voltage is applied, so this will be equal to L into di by dt. So this value will be equal to, because I is equal to Vs by R, because of the sudden change that is produced, so this will act as a source and it will try to circulate the current through this freewheeling diode. I hope it is clear up to now. So let us proceed further and try to analyze under these conditions how the circuit will behave. So now the remaining circuit is now disconnected. So I can just take only the case of the freewheeling diode. So this is my freewheeling diode. Okay, and this is my value of R and this is my value of L. Okay, now the current I is passing and it is having an initial current. So initial value of the current is having, it is having initial conditions that I will be equal to Vs divided by R. I is equal to Vs divided by R. So now try to apply in this loop KVL. So when you apply the KVL in this loop, this will be equal to R into, let us take this current as under this condition I1. So R into I1 plus L into di1 by dt will be equal to 0, because sum of the voltage drops will be equal to 0. I am taking this is my reference direction, because reference direction is always taken in the direction of the current. So this is my value of VR, this is my value of VL. Getting it? So let us try to analyze further. So I can calculate the Laplace transform of this. So this will be equal to R into I1 of S plus L into S into I1 of S minus I1 of 0 or I1 of initial conditions, whatever initial conditions, so that sum is equal to 0. So from this I can calculate my value, this as I1 of S I am taking as common, this will become equal to R plus L into S minus L into I1 of 0 is equal to 0. So let us try to calculate the I1 of 0, so then we will proceed further. We know that I1 of 0 will be equal to the steady state current. What is the steady state value of the current? Because that is actually passing before this freewheeling diode start acting or at the instant of opening of the switch. So this will be equal to Vs divided by R. We have already derived that one. Steady state value of the current is equal to Vs divided by R. So this is my initial value of the current at the instant of opening of the switch. So this is Vs divided by R. So this one I am substituting in this equation. So let us take this as equation number 1. So because of this, the equation number 1 becomes I1 of S into R plus Ls. This will be equal to L into, because this minus is there, this I am taking to the second side, Vs divided by R. So what I am doing, this side also I am taking L common. So this will become I of S into L into R by L plus S. This will be equal to L into Vs divided by R. So we can tell that LL will cancel on both the sides. So from this I can calculate my value of I1 of S is equal to Vs by R into 1 by S plus R by L. You agree with me? So this much value came. So from this I can calculate my value of the current, that is I1 of t with respect to the time. This will be equal to Vs divided by R into e to the power of minus r by L into t. So at the instant of opening of the switch, I am taking that time as my reference time. That means t is equal to 0 again. So that means from that instant I am starting again. So at that instant the value will be equal to Vs divided by R, and gradually that value will go on decaying. That value will go on decaying. Agree with me? So in that way I can calculate this one, or instead of R by L into t, I can replace this time by t minus the instant t1. So in that form also we can write the value of the time. Getting it? So now if I am plotting the curve for the same, so initially it is raised like this. So this is my value of I. So let us assume up to this instant switch S is closed. So at this instant switch S is open, and this value of the voltage at this instant, this value will be equal to Vs divided by R. So now what happens when the switch is opened? As per this equation, again I am taking this instant as t, so gradually it will decay like this. Gradually it will decay like this. So remember that this time is again starting from t is equal to 0. That means again I am taking this instant as t is equal to 0. So I am taking this as my reference. So initially it reaches the steady state. Whenever the switch is opened, the current is gradually decaying. So from this, what is the observation we get? So I am going back to this to understand the concept. Now what happens if this freewheeling diode is not there, when the switch is opened under steady state, suddenly the current passing through the inductor is collapsed, because we know the inductor will store the energy in the form of half L into that steady state current square. Agree with me? So suddenly this much value of the energy is collapsed. That means this is equal to half L into what is this value of the steady state current is Vs by R. Agree with me? So this is equal to Vs by R square. So this is the energy stored in the inductor. So this I can write as half times of Vs square divided by R. This will be multiplied by L. So this much will come Vs square by R square. So this will come, or simply Vs by R only we can write, right? Unnecessary confusion. So this much value of the energy is suddenly becoming equal to 0. So where this energy will go? That energy should be dissipated in some other form. So what it will do? The inductor will produce very high value of the voltage, and this high value of the voltage will apply across your switch, and it will try to produce an arc across your switch. It will try to produce the arc across your switch. Same concept we have studied in the case of circuit breakers in this switchgear and protection course. So some of you who have referred that course, you will have the idea. So what will be the effect of opening an inductor circuit, suddenly opening a switch? So because of this, the spark will produce here. There is a chance whatever the switch is there here will spoil. Remember here, this switch is not a mechanical switch. Actually we are going to see that here some power electronic switch is used for switching purpose. So this much high voltage will apply across your power electronic switch. That switch may damage. That is a disadvantage of this one. Getting it? So in order to avoid this, what we have to do? We have to provide some alternate path for this current to pass. So now what will happen when the switch is suddenly opened? Now the current has another path to pass. The current can easily pass through this freewheeling diode. As the current is bypassed through this, the energy will be gradually dissipated until the current reaches 0. You can see here, after some time the current reaches 0. When the current reaches 0, the energy will be equal to half L into 0 square, because current is equal to 0. So energy is completely dissipated. So in that sense, it will safeguard your power electronic circuit from damaging. So this is the purpose of freewheeling diode. Okay, so what is the purpose? So I am summarizing here. So this freewheeling diode provides alternate path for the passage of current when switch is closed, so that inductor will not damage the switch. because actually it is a power electronic switch. So that is the purpose of the freewheeling diode. So now let us go to the RLC circuit. So I am taking the case again switch. There is a diode, there is RLC, 3 devices are connected in series. So again I am taking 0 initial conditions. So in that case I can write the equation for KVL. This will become equal to Ri plus L into di by dt plus 1 by C into integration of I dt. This will be equal to Vs. You agree with me? So with 0 initial conditions. So if I am taking my initial conditions are 0, so I can write it as I of S into R plus Ls plus 1 by Cs. I am taking initial conditions as 0, that's why I am directly writing this one, Vs divided by S. If initial conditions are there, this equation will become much more complex, because I want to give you the concept how the circuit behave. That's why I am taking the initial conditions or simplest possible case. So from this I can calculate my value of I of S is equal to Vs divided by S into R plus Ls plus 1 by Cs. Agree with me? So this I can write as Vs divided by L into S square plus R by L into S plus 1 by LC. I want to write in the form S square plus something, so that's why I have converted like this. Let us take it as equation number 1. So now here this S square plus R by Ls plus 1 by LC. So this is called as here S square plus R by L into S plus 1 by LC is equal to 0 is called as the characteristic equation. In S domain, and the roots will be equal to S is equal to minus R by 2L plus or minus square root of R by 2L whole square minus 1 by LC. Let us take it as equation number 2. So this can be written in this form as minus zeta plus or minus square root of zeta square minus omega naught square. So what is this value of the zeta? So where this value of zeta is equal to R by 2L, because zeta square we are taking as this one. So zeta is R by 2L. So this zeta is called as the damping factor. So whoever have already studied the control systems, they will know this. What is this? So this is responsible for damping of the oscillations, damping factor. And the value of omega naught is equal to 1 by square root of LC. So this is called resonant frequency. This is called as resonant frequency, which will be in radians per second. Sorry, it has gone up. Which will be in radians per second. So now this value, depending on what is the value, what is the magnitude of zeta and omega naught, 3 different cases are possible. So if zeta is less than omega naught, if zeta is less than omega naught, this becomes imaginary value. So one type of root will come. If zeta is greater than omega naught, then this value become real value. So there is no imaginary part, there will be no oscillations. And if the value of zeta is equal to omega naught, so this will cancel out, only this term will be there. That is called as another conditions. That means depending on the value of zeta and omega naught, 3 different cases are possible. So let us see each one of these cases, because writing the handwriting is very difficult while teaching, because I am writing on the screen, very difficult task. So that's why I have pre-written the remaining things. So zeta is less than omega naught, first case. So the roots of this equation number 2, when zeta is less than omega naught, it becomes the imaginary value or the complex value. So that's why this equation number 2 becomes minus R by 2L plus inside square root of this one become imaginary value. Imaginary value means I can represent it as j square form. So plus or minus j of something. In that form it will come. So the roots of equation number 2 are complex and the circuit is said to be under damped conditions. So we are going to prove why it is under damped. So if you are calculating the roots will be equal to S1 is equal to minus zeta plus j times of omega r. So omega r is a new term I am referring here. This omega r is nothing but, so in order to get the roots, what I can do, I can reverse these things, because this I can write as J square times of omega naught square minus zeta square. Even I can write in this form, agree with me, because this one I can take the minus common, because minus 1 is nothing but equal to j square. So this I can write as j square times of omega naught square minus zeta square, so that the square root will cancel, that j will come out, and another term omega naught square minus zeta square also can easily come out. So that is the purpose I have written here. So that's why this omega r is equal to square root of omega naught square minus zeta square. So this term is called as the ringing frequency. This is called as the ringing frequency. So now if you are substituting this in the value of I of s and calculating the value of I of t, I am directly writing the equation because I don't want to go into deep and the complete derivation of this is not required. So Vs divided by omega RL into e to the power of minus zeta t into sine of omega RT. So you can see here one sine term is coming and one exponential term is coming. That means it will produce a wave which will be dampened gradually. If the diode is not there, it will produce a sine wave like this, which will be of gradually decaying magnitude, because that magnitude with respect to time e to the power of minus zeta t will goes on decaying. So that will go on decaying and finally it will suppress after a long time. It will suppress after a long time. That's why it is called as underdamped condition. But the thing is, when the current reaches 0, the current should go to negative. When the current try to go to the negative, because of this diode VD will not allow the current to pass in the opposite direction, because current negative means current is passing in opposite direction. So that's why the current cannot go to negative, so it will stop here. That's why it has stopped here. Getting it? So now let us proceed for the second case. If zeta is greater than omega naught, then that roots will be equal to real and hence it is called as the overdamped. Why it is overdamped? So you can see here the roots will become equal to S1 is equal to minus zeta plus square root of zeta square minus omega naught square, and the second root is this one. So there is no imaginary component. So when you are calculating the I of t, on substituting there, this will be equal to Vs divided by L into square root of zeta square minus omega naught square into sine h of square root of zeta square minus omega naught square. So if you are plotting the curve will come like this. So that's why this is called as the overdamped. So it will not have the continued oscillations and it will take so much time to reach the peak, and again it will go on gradually decaying. When compared to remaining two cases, it will take more time. That's why called as overdamped. So now let us take the case when zeta is equal to omega naught. When zeta is equal to omega naught, that square root term will cancel. So we will get S1 is equal to S2 is equal to minus zeta. If you calculate the current, you will get it as Vs by L into t into e to the power of minus zeta into t. So there is a term t. Because of this t, the value will increase with respect to time. But because of e to the power of minus zeta t, that value will decrease with respect to time. So a result of these two, the curve if you plot, the plot will come like this. So it will increase up to certain extent. After that it will fall down. So this will be between this underdamped and overdamped case. That's why this is called as critically damped case. So three different possibilities are there for the case of RLC circuit. So with this I am winding up the basics that are required in order to proceed for AC uncontrolled rectifier. So that's why from the next class onwards, I am going to start the diode rectifiers or diode AC to DC converters. So I hope everything is clear up to here. Because this RLC circuit I have not gone into deep, because I want to only brief you the basic idea only. Because very rarely we come across the RLC series circuit in practice. Generally either RL circuit, LC or RC, only those combinations will come. RLC will be very rare we get in practice. So I hope everything is clear up to now. If you still have any queries, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. I will answer to your queries from there. Thank you very much.